Hi everyone, I will present the paper Prefrontal Cortex as a Meta-Reinforcement Learning System. And I will only cover the first half of the paper. I will start from the background of reinforcement learning, and then goes into two open problems, and the model proposed to solve the problems. Then I will focus on a specific task, learning to learn. Finally, the results will be presented, including the performance of the model and some comparison between the brain and the model. So first, let us look at the actor-critic model. Like neural reinforcement learning, there will be an environment and agent interaction. The agent will contain two parts, critic and actor. And the whole objective will still be the cumulative expected long-term rewards. The critic will learn a value estimate, and it will be updated by minimizing TD errors. The actor will learn a policy, and it is updated by taking gradient of the objective with respect to the policy parameters directly, and the policy update will depend on the TD error. The agent will take state and reward from the environment and return an action back to the environment, and then the loop will go on. Nowadays, RNN is also a popular choice for RL algorithms. So at each time step, there will be an actor-critic architecture. Other than value estimate and the policy, it will also output some hidden state to the next time step. And this hidden state will contain history informations. Such recurrent neural networks is good when the state does not contain all the informations, when we need to make decisions based on the histories. RNN are also used to understand the brain. For example, there is a prefrontal cortex. Some proof have shown that it is included in the reward-based learning. It may also encode expected values of actions and states. Also, it is related to the working memory. It extracts information from the recent history of actions and rewards. And this working memory is very closely related to recurrent neural networks. Indeed, some papers have shown that actor-critic based on RNNs may correspond to neural activities in several brain regions, including this prefrontal cortex and other connected regions like dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, orbitofrontal cortex, and basal ganglia. And other than this Pfc, we have known dopamine release. This is very similar to reinforcement learning. It's very closely related to reward prediction error, and that is one learning algorithm. We also have Pfc, which is the relationship between these two systems, known from the first paper, that there are model-free reinforcement learning and model-based reinforcement learning going on in the brain at the same time. So maybe these two systems, they operate separately. They have different functions. But some proof have shown that the prediction error signals can be modulated by the task structure. This means these systems, they are collaborating in some way. Then what is the exact relationship? So what is the role of prefrontal cortex? What is the relationship between prefrontal cortex and the dopamine release? This paper proposed a dual learning system. So first, it capitalized prefrontal cortex with several other brain regions mentioned above as a recurrent neural network. This recurrent neural network takes observations, past action, past reward as input, and output actions and estimated value functions, just like actor-critic. The dopamine release will be a gradient to tune the weights in this Pfc network. And this dopamine plays as the first learning algorithm. Then after the network is trained, we can fix the weights And then the activation dynamics of the RNN function as the second learning algorithm. This RNN will contain multiple trios of the game. And at different trios, the PFC network can generate different policies based on the history. So over trios, it is actually improving the policy. This is considered as the second learning algorithm. With this dual learning system, we start to consider some tasks. The first one is about learning to learn. What is learning to learn? It means the ability to use previous experience to quickly, efficiently learn similar tasks. This terminology is first proposed by Harlow in 1949. A monkey is used in this experiment. So there are two objects provided to the monkey. And only under one object there is a reward. The monkey is trained with these two objects on multiple trios. The position of the objects can change, but the reward is always under the same object. And all this is called one episode. Then we go to the second episode. The objects are changed, but the game logic is the same. There is only reward under one object. And the monkey is trained again for several trios with these two new objects. And then we continue going on. The performance result is shown on the third column. So the red line means the first episode. We can see the monkey is learning slowly. And the pink line shows the last episode. And the monkey is already very well trained. After observing the first object, it knows which is the optimal action. And it means monkey use past experience and can efficiently learn similar tasks. And this is also going on in human, in our brain. But can the proposed learning model deal with learning to learn? So at first, the paper tried to do some test of the model on learning to learn problem. It starts with bandit problems. So we look at the first bandit. In each bandit problem, we are provided with two actions or two arms. Each arm has a probability of rewarding. The reward will be sampled independently according to this probability. And the probabilities of rewarding for two arms, they can be correlated or uncorrelated. And the network will train on one bandit for several trios, and then go to the second episode, where we switch the bandit probability of rewarding. Here we show the test result. And when we show the test result, the weight for the whole network is already fixed. So dopamine release does not play any role anymore. The performance is at first measured by cumulative regret. Cumulative regret is the amount of cumulated errors caused by playing the suboptimal arm. And we can see that the model, the red line, beats some popular algorithms, including Thompson sampling and upper confidence bound. The model extract history information in a more efficient way. And then we look at the blue line. For the red line, it means the model is trained on independent arms. And for the blue line, the model is trained on correlated arms, where the probability of rewarding sum up to 1. We can see the blue line definitely has better performance. It means that the model can infer the task structure when two arms are correlated. Here we show the learning for the second algorithm, PFC network. The plot shows the two features from the neural network after some dimension reduction. Each plot represents a bandit with different probability of rewarding. Dark black colors means early trios. Bright yellow colors means later trios. And in all these bandit problems, PFC network refines the policy based on the history and learns the optimal action. We can see in the middle, When the probability of rewarding gets closer, the task is harder, and the learning itself gets more diversions. We can see the plot here is more complicated. But overall, we have seen that the model succeed in learning to learn bandit task. Then the paper starts to make a comparison with the brain. It did totally 6 simulations. The first 4 simulations focus on the role of Pfc networks with the weight fixed. And then the simulation focuses on learning to learn performance and the role of dopamine. In this presentation, I will only cover the first 3 simulations. For the first simulation, it mainly to test if Pfc itself encodes recent actions and rewards into representation of choice of values. We know the answer is true from the design of the model, but we also want to compare if the behavior of Pfc network match with the brain. And the task is like very similar to bandit. The monkey is given 2 objects, A and B, and each has some rewarding probability. The rewarding probability is changing over time on their own schedule, following the equation here. NA here is the number of time steps since action A was played. So it means the probability of rewarding will be decaying if we keep playing the same action. An optimal strategy for this kind of game is probability matching, with sample actions proportional to the probability of rewarding. And the original paper indeed showed that monkey follow this strategy. Here it shows the plot between the choice of actions and the estimated probability of reward. We can see these 2 ratios are closely correlated. It means the monkey shows some probability matching strategy. And on the left-hand side is the behavior of the Pfc network. It has very similar performance as the monkeys. This implies that some kind of choice value must be estimated internally. Otherwise, how can we sample our actions according to the choice value? Furthermore, they do a regression between the choice value and the behavior data. So they try to predict the log probability of rewarding based on the reward magnitude and the action taken. They will use data from last J steps. So it's predict based on histories. And we can see the regression coefficient shown here. The top row shows the coefficient for the reward magnitude. The bottom row shows the coefficient for the action taken. And the left side is the regression result for monkey behavior. Right-hand side shows the network behavior. And we can look at the top row first. A positive coefficient means the larger the reward, the more preferred the action. And the bottom row, we have negative coefficient, means the more frequent the action is sampled, the less preferred the action is. And both these coefficients are non-zero, means the choice value can indeed depend on behavior data. And also only information from latest 10 steps are needed. More than 10 steps, the coefficient is very close to 0. And we can see the model has very similar regression results as the monkeys. Again, it's just a proof to show there are some value estimation going on internally. And then we do a comparison neurally. Just on the left-hand side is the monkey result. It tried to do a neural encoding. It used all these regressors, past actions, past rewards, value estimate to predict neural activities for each neuron. And during the prediction for each neuron, if one regressor play a significant role, they will say this neuron, this regressor is correlated. Here they plot the proportion of correlated neuron according to each regressor. The brain indeed have some relation to the past actions, past rewards, and it may indeed have some representation of choice values. And we already know our model is doing this, but they still do an experiment. It shows a correlation between the hidden layers of the network with these regressors. And indeed they have some correlations, but not very high. And then we go to the second simulation. In this simulation, we want to test the adaptation behavior of PFC network to different task environments. A main question here is that how do we weight the history in order to make new decisions? What humans do is that humans adopt a faster learning rate during volatile periods than stable periods. It means when the task is changing very fast, human will give a smaller weight to the history. And when the task does not change, is very stable, human will give a larger weight to the history. And in this simulation, we will focus on anterior cingulate cortex, which is also included in the PFC network. The task is just a bandit problem, but it contains stable period and volatile period. In the stable period, the probability of rewarding is fixed for 100 trials. In the volatile period, the probability of rewarding is interswitched every 25 trials. And how do we measure the weight of history? The paper used learning rate. How do we get this learning rate? Basically, we first collect behavior data from the human or the PFC network. We will know at each time step what is the observation and what action was taken and what is the reward. Then they try to maximize the learning rate in the fitted RL algorithm to best match the action taken by the subject. So here is the detail. They estimate the probability of reward for each action. And the magnitude of reward at each trial is given. So we can also estimate the expected reward. And then the policy will be modeled based on this estimated reward. And then we try to maximize the probability of the action taken by the subject with respect to the learning rate alpha. Then this is how we get this learning rate. Here we show the plot of the learning rate. The blue line represents the true probability of rewarding. The red line means the learning rate. And we can see the bottom line. PFC indeed adopt a higher learning rate as human in volatile period. And in the top line, it shows the result of Bayesian model proposed by the original paper. We can see these two models have actually similar performance. And then they make a comparison between the model and the brain. We present the mean of learning rates during each period here. Although PFC in general has a larger learning rate than the human, but the overall pattern is similar. The network indeed adapts the learning rate to the changing volatility. Then we go to simulation 3. In this simulation, we want to test if PFC network abstract task structure and modulates dopamine signals like the brain. So some evidence have shown that the dopamine signal does not only depend on the stimulus reward, it also depends on the task structure. And the original paper studied a pathway in the brain. It really talks about at the end how dopamine neuron is modified. But here PFC network only contains the first part, the globus pallidus region. The task here is the monkey at first asks to focus at the center, and then a target stimulus will be shown. The target will either show the left target or the right target. Then the monkey is asked to look at the target. At the fourth step, a reward will come up. And always there is only one target will give a reward. So here the monkey is not asked to make an action. The main task is to detect the neural activity when the target stimulus shows up. And also it contains different episode or block here. Just when we go into a new episode or new block, the reward target will be reversed. And for example, when we go to this new block, given a target stimulus, we look at it and figure out there is no reward provided, then we can definitely infer the other one has the reward. And this is what this experiment wants to test. The dopamine neurons are influenced by these inferred values. We can first see the left figure. It's for the monkeys. Look at the first column. The green line shows the neural activity when the monkey see the target with the rewards. We call this green target. And then the red line means the monkey see the red target. And then the reward is reversed. So now red target has the reward. And the second column means the monkey has taken the red action. So it knows what the true value should be and show the expected neural activity. And for the third column, the monkey hasn't taken any red action, but we can still see there is a spike going on in the red line. It means the dopamine neurons are modified to infer that the red target had some reward. And here, the Pfc network shows the similar thing. The peaks here just represent the reward prediction error or the TD error in the learning. Column means the same thing, and we can see from the third column, the Pfc network also has the same phenomenon. The reward prediction errors are modified by the inference. And this is a very normal phenomenon for the Pfc model because the TD error definitely depends on the estimate value it provides. But overall, it shows that the Pfc network has the similar inferred value effect as the monkeys. So it's another matching proof for the model. And then we come to some criticism for the first part. This model only deals with bandit problems. So in each trail, there is only one time step. How about some longer trajectories like Mu-Joko? In each trail, there may be hundreds of steps. But then it's going to be a problem. The RNN need to consider multiple trails. Then for longer trajectories, the RNN will be too large to fit in the memory. That's going to be a problem. And the second thing is that this model only consider rewarding events. But some papers have shown that the learning is also influenced by silent events, like some event will show strong aversions or some new events. And the third thing is that this Pfc network contains many brain regions, but the inner relationship in the Pfc network is not fully discussed in this paper. And that's it for the presentation. Thanks for your listening.